What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Jet Report. I'm your host, Pablo, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Brian Schultz. The Void. Let's get into it. This is the show that where we talk about some of the things that people aren't really talking about, although people are really talking about this Adam Driver situation. So we got a lot to talk about there, so let's get into it. Adam Driver reveals failed Star Wars movie with Steven Soderbergh. What's going on with that?
He was on a podcast, Adam Driver was, and he let slip in no uncertain terms that he had pitched to Kathleen Kennedy a Hunt for Ben Solo movie in the aftermath of The Rise of Skywalker, and that he had alongside his Logan Lucky director, Steven Soderbergh, of course, notable for a lot of things, but Ocean's 11, certainly a big one on his resume. Traffic, Academy Award-winning film 20 years ago, also on his resume. So they apparently went to Kathleen Kennedy. They handed out $3 million for a script for this movie that was completed.
Wow. Kennedy
said yes to the movie. They took it to the higher-ups at Disney, and Disney said,
I said, no, hell no.
To which apparently one of the stories is that Soderbergh asked Kennedy after the fact in her career, had that sequence of events ever happened, to which she said no. And that has all the people talking about the what ifs in Star Wars world and why and how and should we have gotten that movie. And I'll just put this side by side and then we can talk about it. In the same vein as that, David Fincher, director of The Social Network, among other things, revealed, Seven, also one of his films, revealed that he had pitched a Star Wars movie to Disney in the wake of Rise of Skywalker. And that had fallen apart because Disney was unwilling to give him his customary final cut. So in the same week, you had a reveal of Steven Soderbergh and David Fincher, two of the more celebrated filmmakers of the last, call it 30 years, saying that they had Star Wars movies on the table at Disney. And one falls apart because of control, and the other falls apart because of reasons unknown, basically.
I know he has said that he has no involvement. But does he get a conversation where he gets to say yay or nay and people follow? And I'm referring to George Lucas, Brian. Do you think he's getting a say in these?
Zip.
He's zip nothing.
He actually gave an interview the other day where he said, I have completely moved on from Star Wars. He's like, it's their thing. I don't have anything to do with it. He's like, that's the way it goes. He's like, whatever I think about it doesn't matter. He was even talking about he opened a museum recently, kind of about things that he was involved in and kind of historical things. And he kind of was like, I didn't want to put a Star Wars exhibit in the museum and they made me. And he's like, I was just afraid if I did it, that's the only thing people would come to see and it would distract from everything else. He's like, I'm totally over Star Wars at this point.
So it's very interesting. What would be interesting to hear is the reasoning behind these no's, Brian. That would be the sort of things that make you, I guess, go, as to why they said no to these ideas from individuals who have done some great stuff, right?
Yup. Certainly more so than the people who have been involved recently.
I guess we'll leave it there. Or do you have any more to add as to, did you see?
Does that idea excite you? I guess the other thing is, like, would you have wanted to see more of Adam Driver's Ben Solo, Kylo Ren storyline played out? I mean, forget Steven Soderbergh for a second. Just like that idea of like, is that the character and is that the direction you would have wanted to see them go?
Before seeing those other movies, yes, possibly, yes, because it does make then those other movies more interesting to see how they end up.
Yeah, I think he's the most interesting of the leads to me. And you could argue the way Rise of Skywalker resolves his turn is sort of unsatisfying. It certainly doesn't have the same gravitas that Vader's did in Return of the Jedi, but he probably would have been the most interesting character to take on a tangent or go on some extension to see more of. But I agree with you. It's tough because like I just think Rise of Skywalker like burns so much ground in the process that it's like there's a lot of these where it's just like, yeah, maybe, but maybe before then. But after that, I don't know that you want to pull on any of these threads. And so there is a part of me that's like, I am surprised Disney let it get that far because that is part of the question. Why did it get that far before they said no? Because Kathleen Kennedy and Driver and Soderbergh all make it sound like this should have been a rubber stamp. Like they got to the stage where it basically was like, if they're at that stage, the movie's happening.
If they're at the stage where Kennedy says yes, then we should be good to go.
And then Disney says no. So that's where it's like, there is a variable in here that is like, what happened there? But that's the part where I can sort of sympathize with whoever at Disney said no, is they're just like, everyone associated with that, we're not sold.
It's an interesting situation because we don't know why the no's, right? And then we get yeses to there's other things that really people didn't gravitate towards. It's like who's green? Who's saying yes and no to these things? You got to look at them and like, yo.
Yeah, because Kennedy clearly is trying to take the Rey storyline forward, and someone at Disney said yes, sort of, to that. It hasn't happened yet. We'll talk about that. But like, they did clear it for announcement. And then this Simon Kinberg trilogy supposedly is Skywalker Saga 10, 11, 12. So that's also Kennedy saying yes to that. And then Disney saying, okay, we'll explore that. So it is inconsistent. And it's very odd.
The Simon Kinberg is, you said it's a Skywalker Saga, but it's a Skywalker with Ryan Gosling in them, right?
No, that's Starfighter. But like what we heard about Starfighter was that Gosling is the kid that he's protecting. He's trying to get that kid to Rey's Jedi Academy.
Got it.
That's the connection there. Yeah.
But this Simon Kinberg thing.
All rumor, unconfirmed that it's Skywalker 10, 11, 12. That's just been the hot word is that that's what he's writing.
And if it were to get greenlit, it would be the Luke Skywalker situation, right?
Well, I don't know how. I mean, Skywalker Saga 10, 11, 12, I mean, he's gone. I mean, he's Force Ghost Max, right? So, and I don't think after all the comments and stuff Mark Hamill said that Mark Hamill will be coming back. So I don't know.
But that's why you get Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, but then it would be like you're doing something back in time, right? You're going back in time to...
You would go back in time to set up the future, I would think.
Unless you come up with some Force magic excuse to resurrect Luke in the prime of his career. But it's odd, and it definitely got people like, wait, we could have had Star Wars movies from David Fincher and Steven Soderbergh, and instead we got what we got. So
that makes you be like, yo, Disney, what are you doing? Who's saying yes again? Who's saying yes and no to this? Who's in the room where the sausage is being made?
The final cut thing is also weird because, and I get it, Lucas is Lucas, but Lucas obviously had full control over the prequels, right? He was the writer and director of all three. Nobody at Disney was telling him no at that time. So now Disney's like, we're never going to let directors have final cut over Star Wars movies. It's like, I don't know, man. Like,
it's weird, yes.
Yeah. So by the way, the other thing is it goes to this point that I made in our Marvel show about like, when I heard that, the other thing I thought of was, so this was a while ago. The timing is weird, but it made me wonder, because I don't know if Driver says exactly when they did it, but it sounded like a while, but not like super duper long ago. Because Driver said he and Soderbergh spent 2 years working on this. Like I said, they handed out $3 million for a script, which got done. A script exists for this. They had a proposed budget. They had a start date. So they had everything set up. But the thing I wondered was that the first sign of like Disney trying to get Kennedy out of there? Like where it was like the first time they kind of said no to her, which would mean it was pretty recent. But Soderbergh doesn't say exactly when the meeting happens.
So according to Perplexity, shout out to them. I should get I signed up for Perplexity Max, which is a lot of money per month, but it helps with so much. But it states that Adam Driver's proposal for a new Star Wars movie titled The Hunt for Ben Solo was first made around 2021, 4 years ago, when he began discussions about revisiting his character Kylo Ren with Lucasfilm's executives and director Steven Soderbergh. This is according to Screen Crush. So in short, the formal pitch to Lucasfilm and Disney occurred between 2022 and 2023. So they probably came to them around late 2020, early 2021. They finally finished.
After Rise of Skywalker comes out.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I mean that's the thing right there. It comes after. If it would have been before, then maybe that makes more sense. But after, we were already over this whole thing.
Well,
I think.
he's dead too. So then the question is, how do you?
It's a prequel situation.
But that's not what the pitch was. The pitch they said was after. It's after he supposedly dies. He's not really dead. That's the pitch. So I don't know. Meanwhile, though, back in the, you'll be shocked to learn. I throw this in as an aside. You'll be shocked to learn that the Rey project is again on hold.
I mean, it's like getting Blade progress news. There is no progress.
No. It's like just the ref comes out and makes the false start signal and sends them back 5 yards every time. Every time. Yeah.
Oh man, they're gonna end up like those Olympians that have worked hard for however long, and they get 2 false starts and then disqualified.
There you go. That project is not happening. I'm telling you, it is not happening. And if there's any truth to, Kathleen Kennedy is finally in the twilight and might be leaving in the near term, I think that project will be killed by whoever takes over.
Oh yeah. And hopefully, man, I know we've had our conversations about the possibilities of who could take over. I don't know if I'm sold on Filoni anymore.
I'm not alone, because let's put it this way: if you're not sold, he's going to have his moment of truth next year. Because if Mando Grogu is not it, then that I think will be the nail in the coffin of him as like czar of the universe for Star Wars.
He's producing that.
Yeah, but it's his characters and his story, right? I mean, that's, Favreau's directing it, but
we'll see. We'll see with Star Wars what happens in the next project that's supposed to come out with Mandalorian and Grogu. Which begs to ask the question is, I don't know why they didn't show that leak version that they showed. That they wanted people to get excited about this. Instead of, they showed us more TV stuff that we would expect coming on Disney Plus. Instead,
it very much looks like it's a TV quality trailer that you actually got. The leaked one looks more cinematic, but we'll have to wait and see. But that's the Filoni criticism, right? Very there's these flashes along the way where you're like, that could work on a big screen. But most of what he's given us in terms of live action, like you stack that up against what Andor looks like, and it's like they're not even making the same stuff.
Nah. I was gonna make the comparison between in terms of like there's Chinese food, right? And then you go to Tao's restaurant. You know what I'm saying?
Got like the giant Buddha, like in the
it's like you go there. It's just different levels.
Well, let's before we leave this for a second, the Filoni, there's a little James Gunn critique parallel there, isn't there? Because Filoni is like beyond immersed in Star Wars myth, right? He is. He has been the architect of some of the great animated stuff that people hold up. But there's this visualization of some of his work, like I said now, where you're kind of like, does it feel as grand as it needs to feel? And I think, like I said, like the Gunn has come onto that same, like some of his stuff really does. Like you look at some of the stuff in Guardians and even some of the moments in Superman, you're like, that's it. Like visually, he's hitting it. And then there's other times where you're kind of like, that looks a little small scale. Like is that big, or is that idea really big enough for the mass audience? I'm not sure. Like there's a whiff of that with Filoni, that he's not as mainstream and as cinematic as maybe you need to be to drive Star Wars forward, which has to be a big screen success.
Yeah. Miami Vice looks like Butler and Jordan might be the 2 leads that they get for this movie. Brian, what do you think about that?
Well, it's so funny, right? Because it's like we had the 2 rumored pairs. And it's like we had Austin Butler, Aaron Pierre, and we had Glenn Powell and Michael B. Jordan. But now what's been confirmed is one of each. So it sounds like we're going to get Austin Butler as Sonny Crockett officially in talks. So like not rumored, confirmed in talks. Michael B. Jordan confirmed in talks. So they are almost certainly going to be Sonny Crockett and Ricardo Tubbs. And I don't think they could really have gone wrong here. So I'm fascinated to see the chemistry. I would be curious as to your reaction. I think on merit, I probably like Butler a little better as Crockett than what I know of Glenn Powell. Or at least I think I've seen Butler do things that would translate well to a Sonny Crockett. That being said, I actually could very much see the chemistry between Powell and Jordan. To me, that felt very natural, personalities-wise. Whereas Butler and Jordan feels a little more, I need to see what they come up with. I don't hate it. I think they're really talented guys like I said, in the case of Michael B. Jordan, I think he opened up a new window for himself with Sinners.
Mm-hmm.
But any way you cut it, though, this is an it project. You get these are guys that are in the top shelf of younger actors coming into their prime in roles that could really service them well in the hands of, like I said, the writer of Andor, the director of F1 and Top Gun Maverick. Man, you have to be there opening weekend on the IMAX screen for this.
Yeah, the elements that'll make up this movie are high level indeed, and you always sort of look forward to see visually how this is going to look, how things are shot. You're obviously going to go into with Kaczynski more specifically, and the writer, obviously, come on, Andor, and how that was written and stuff like that. It's a different type of writing. It's not the sort of dialogue that you would hear. It's a different type of writing, I would say, different type of dialogue. So it's going to be interesting to hear what these characters have to say and how they say it and how they play off of each other. So there's a lot of things to look forward to for this movie. And can't wait for the confirmation that this is going to be a green light and we're set to go on this film. They made any mention as to when this
summer?
This
it's
released?
summer 2027. I think they have a date. This is greenlit. Like, this is happening. The question is getting the contract signed for the two leads. But I don't think they're going to say no. I mean, these are juicy parts, man. These are good parts. Like like I said, in good hands. So I think the other things that are going to be underrated here are the music. Obviously, Jan Hammer's theme from the 80s is iconic, but like, this was a series that used 80s rock and pop. Like, it is a musical type of project too. So watch for who's doing soundtrack and score and who's going to be appearing doing the songs, and then supporting cast. I think I have high expectations. I think people will want to come in and throw flamethrowers for 5 minutes in this type of movie. Like, I think back, actually, it's funny, not so much Miami Vice. I think of like Collateral, which obviously Jamie Foxx was in with Tom Cruise. But like, if you look back, like, Javier Bardem's in that for like one scene and he's cooking. Like, it's just before he becomes the guy that he is now. It's like, I could see that with this kind of movie where like guys just pop up and they're like, I'll do one scene. I'll be, the drug lord here. Or I'll do this thing. The cop here, and like, I think this can be really, really fun. And you're right, the dialogue is interesting because if they're trying to echo the 80s, I'll be curious to see like what that means to them in terms of screenwriting, because this show was different when it was on TV, and then it's very gritty in the movie. Like, if you listen to Jamie Foxx, almost all of his lingo is like very technical. Like, he's talking about like the speed of the boats and like the radar and the AWACS. Like, he's talking like very, very like over your head type of almost military type stuff. It's not really like a human part. So I don't know what they're going to try to come up with here. But you're right. In Andor, it's very theatrical. It's very Shakespearean. It's very elevated. Like, you really have to pay attention to every word to grasp the ideas. Like, fascinated by this project. This is like easy top 3 for me in 2027. Easy.
Ryan Coogler gives us an update on X-Files, which is the project that he mentioned that he was going to work on following Sinners. Where is it at now?
Well, he gave an interesting interview where he talked about, apparently this project is for his mom. Apparently his mom loves this piece of IP more than anything. And he basically said this is why he kind of got involved in it. And this is why he wants to do it. And that he has spoken apparently to at least Gillian Anderson. He didn't say he's spoken to David Duchovny yet, but he's spoken to at least Gillian Anderson about her Scully making some kind of supporting or cameo or return appearance to this iteration. But we'll see what I'm interested to see was, has he confirmed whether it's a single standalone movie yet? That's the one thing. He keeps calling it the reboot, but I think it's actually a TV show. I think it's actually going to be a series.
I think
He
so.
hasn't. Yeah, don't you think that would make more sense if he's trying to reboot this? Because I know the X-Files had 2 feature films, but this is a TV show at its core. So I'm assuming this is going to be on HBO because he's at Warner's now. I'm assuming that they're aiming at this as an HBO show that he's going to do as a serial and have kind of multiple, in theory, multiple seasons about. Maybe he directs the pilot and the finale of the first. Maybe he writes, a good bit of the first season, almost Taylor Sheridan style. But I mean, I don't know how you can not be excited for anything this guy does. And if he says this is personal,
forget about it. For his mama, that's Buster Douglas type motivation. He's going out there to win. Netflix sends Stranger Things finale to theaters. Brian, for a company who has been opposed to doing theater, they're messing around with this. Why is that? What's the plan here? And does this set a trend for other studios to play with, like Amazon? Again, we've talked about James Bond world. Who knows what happens with Skydance and those guys over there. But does this start the process of experimenting with this connection from TV to box office?
Well, first off, we'll look for our royalty check in the mail because we've been telling him to do this since COVID. You go back to our show like 4 or 5 years ago, we've been floating this idea of why doesn't Netflix, of all people, I know they're so adverse to the theater in general, but why on a limited scale don't they do more of this? We're not talking about the, hey, we're going to send Rebel Moon there for a weekend. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the series that blow up and go supernova because of Netflix. Why don't they send some of those to the theater for the community aspect of the fandom? And finally, we get the news with Stranger Things, they're going to do it. To me, it's not huge scale. It's 350 theaters in the US and Canada. That, a blockbuster film will be on 4,000 screens, to give you a perspective. But what I think is cool and is going to go somewhere is the timing of the show, the initial shows, is the exact moment it drops on the streamer. That's meaningful. This is not, hey, you can watch it at home and then 2 weeks later you can go to the theater again. This is, you want to be with friends and community and people who have the same interest in this show that you do for the past however many years, decade or whatever it is now. Watch it at the exact same time the world can watch it, but watch it on the big screen with those people. That, to me, is going to become a thing. I don't see how it doesn't become a thing. And I think it will be in thousands of screens down the road, and it will make money for these. Not every show can do this, right?
Yes.
But I think, if we rewound the clock, the final season of Game of Thrones, whatever you thought of it, they absolutely could have done it with that. I think there are things in the DC universe they absolutely will be able to do with this.
Could have done that with Andor.
Andor absolutely could have done this.
So the point is that you do this with the elites of the elites in terms of shows and quality and stuff like that, and the buzz. You can definitely pull it off if you got the numbers to prove that this would be huge.
And you never do it at the outset because you don't know exactly what's going to be the big thing. But once it's clearly established, I guess Squid Game would probably be in this conversation too. Like once you've established that it is the event of TV when it comes, you're just giving away money if you don't do this. And I think it goes to the point we were saying, especially for Stranger Things, which is a younger audience. That idea of the younger audience is craving community and getting together and doing things in person in a way that the older audience kind of isn't. So for them, this is actually more exciting in some ways than the next Marvel movie or the next DC movie. It's talking to these strangers, but strangers who have this in common about this, and then going to see it together. I think you're going to see a lot more of this. And I still say one of these I don't think it'll be Netflix because they just seem so publicly averse, but who knows? Maybe this will change their thinking bit by bit. I still think one of Apple, Amazon, or Netflix is going to wind up buying a theater chain and converting that theater chain to do nothing but their stuff.
I think Amazon will be the first one to do it.
And to make it experience, right? To make it like not just you're going to show up and buy your ticket. It's like you're going to show up and like something else will be there. Maybe the cast or the crew will be there for this date and you can talk to them about it. Or maybe it's like going to be interactive in some way. Like I said, what they're doing at the Sphere is kind of interesting, albeit too expensive. But like something is going to happen here where they're going to try to make a set of theaters proprietary to the IP that they have and make it different for you to go there versus anywhere else to see it.
And if you're not thinking about doing this, it's at the NerdGen Report. The NerdGen Report at gmail.com. Talk to us and let us spearhead this possibility. Because it just makes sense. Yeah.
We're available.
Yeah, man. This is
That's just too easy. It's too easy. It's too easy.
We have to evolve, especially in the theater stuff. And they've made their attempts, but none of it hasn't really caught on. But I think this idea could certainly catch on and be really, really, really profitable, especially if you make it a little bit different than just a regular going theater experience.
Exactly. I think that's the key. It's like the hook isn't just the screen itself. It is the interactivity of and the community of what you're doing. And I think as they do more of it, they will figure out like how to make that experience truly tailored to that idea.
Just think about the Superman, how they sold the first set of Superman tickets. It's the exclusivity. If they can do that in the theaters, do whatever they think it will be exclusive to that experience. That I'm telling you, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, anything else, Brian, before we wrap this one up?
No, that was we kind of had a fun little mix there of different things that we're paying attention to. I will say, not a shock. It wasn't really enough to do a whole thing about, but I did see Camila Mendes, who is Tila in Masters of the Universe, did let slip. This should not be a surprise. Did let slip that everyone is signed for multiple films, and she was like, she's like, I'm hoping we get to do a lot more of these. So we're still waiting on that's it. Of all the teasers, that's the one I think is still number one for us right now. It's like I probably would have that number one, Brand New Day number two, and Doomsday number three of the things we're likely to. Actually, I take that back. He-Man is number one. Odyssey full trailer is number two because that's coming in December. Brand New Day is number three, and Doomsday is number four of the ones we should get before year end. But Masters of the Universe is still going to be like, when that comes out, I think there's going to be a lot of people talking about it one way or another.
I'll say this before we wrap this one up. This is in regards to He-Man and the things that people have said before we see anything and how they released that first clip of just the title.
Yeah, with the modification of the He-Man, the theme is at the end, right? I think they should do that in the teaser too. Like even that like really weird little like put some version of that in the backing of the teaser. I think people will lose their mind.
I am looking to see everything we saw as a kid, although shot differently. I'm looking to see, is the nostalgia that's going to get people talking. But the way they did that He-Man first look in all the different languages, Brian, that means global box office, $1 billion.
You are still out there.
I am calling it right now. I'm telling you, I'm going to go Barry Horowitz crazy when it happens.
I will say Monica Baccarin, who we know from Deadpool movies, who of course is the sorceress in this. She was hyping up her costume, kind of saying like when they brought her in and they showed her the feathers and the contact lenses and the stuff to kind of manipulate her, she was like into the character. She was like, and she's like, I was a huge fan of. She's like, my brother and I were huge fans of He-Man growing up, and so she was just like blown away that it looked just like the sorceress looks when she got to be in costume. So
you're going to see the sorceress fly around the thing and then go in. You're going to see all the stuff we used to see as a kid, those little things, man. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, I'll go crazy if he starts making a mirror in the sand. I'll go crazy if they do that.
They can't see. They can't give that stuff. They can't give all that stuff away. They can't give all that stuff away in the teaser. Yeah.
No, for sure. But the teaser, obviously, there's one thing that we said we don't want to see is him drawing his sword and saying, "I have the power." We got to save that for the theaters. That is a theater experience. Yeah. Just like I Am Steve from Minecraft. If you went to go see that movie, everybody screamed it out when he said it. I never saw it in the teaser or in the trailers or anything like that. I have the power, just like Thundercats hold. You don't do Volform, Blaze. You don't give us that. You give us that in the movie theaters.
Can I ask you one quick, now that we're on the Masters Universe, I thought of one question for you I had the other day, which I maybe blotted from my memory, but then I realized, oh yeah, that's actually a really regular part of the show. The vehicles, remember those like things they used to fly around on? There was like a lot of lasers involved. Do you think this movie should have a bunch of that in here?
I would have to think about the safety concerns in terms of realistically, could they pull that off with some of the vehicles? I know there's this one vehicle that it flies in the air and there's like,
it's almost like a motorcycle. They're on the back of it, right? And
the air and it's like high and stuff. Yeah, and it's like, if you put some straps in there, like belt buckles, and okay. But before, they weren't wearing none of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, so there was those, and then there was obviously like Man of Arms that he would drive. There was like there were ground-bound ones that they drove as well. Like, I forgot how much vehicular stuff was in that show. I was flipping on a little bit of it the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of this in there.
There's a lot of stuff, man. I'm telling you, this is going to be a sight to behold. We'll see what it does. If it's decent, the reviews are decent. I think we could definitely, because this is, if it gets me excited and other people excited, they're gonna take their kids, Brian. This is not a one-time viewing.
I agree with that. I agree with you there.
That's what I think will take it over the top. But we'll see.
I agree with you there, and I think I would be interested to see if this is. I am going to guess this will actually be rated PG and not PG-13, which basically to me will simply be cut the language out, which He-Man never really needed profanity anyway. But the violence is really sci-fi violent. If you look at the show, right, it's not blood and guts with the swords at all. It's lasers, it's magic, it's sorcery. It's the kind of stuff that's almost more Star Warsian than it is like Lord of the Rings, right? So you can make this PG, i.e. much more family accessible for exactly the point that you're making, which is one generation reintroducing this idea to a younger generation who hopefully gets kind of hooked on it and is like, this is cool. Where did this come from? Like, why did I not hear about this? And then you're like, I'll show you the original show and you'll know why you didn't hear about it.
Yeah, yo. Yeah. Oh man, He-Man. If we've been talking about He-Man for years, and we would laugh at the possibility of making He-Man dope, and we're like, they're actually making it dope. Let's see if they can pull that off, man.
Now I get fed this on my YouTube because of obviously the stuff that I search for and that we talk about, but like, there's a lot of AI He-Man renderings out there. Like, just Google. Oh, yeah. I mean, as much as any IP, so like He-Man renderings, Thundercat renderings, like they are plentiful on YouTube. So there's at least some community out there that is like thinking about how to make this happen.
Yeah.
And now we're going to find out how well they did.
This will open the doors to a whole bunch of other stuff if this is successful, Brian. Hopefully the movie Cats didn't ruin Thundercats too much. But after I saw that, I was like, oh, forget it. They ain't making Thundercats after this. You crazy. But we'll see after He-Man. But yeah, let us know in the comment section below what you guys think of all we discussed in The Void. Adam Driver failed attempt at the Star Wars movie with a bunch of big name directors. Steven Soderbergh, David Fincher had his own project that was rejected. No, Ray movie's in the same place as Blade. No movement. Just talk about what's, just telling us what we already know. Miami Vice looks to cast two big name stars in Butler and Jordan. And because of the names that are involved and the people behind this, involved in this movie, it looks to be quite a spectacle. And hopefully, this is supposed to come out in 2027, correct?
Correct. August 27, I think. August 27.
Hopefully they sign on, man, and we get to look forward to what this movie is gonna be and look like. Ryan Coogler is doing again X-Files. This is something that he said he wanted to do right after Sinners, and this is dedicated to his mom, so you know he's gonna go all out. And Netflix sends Stranger Things finale to the theaters, which I think is a smart move, and I think is perhaps an experiment that they'll differentiate themselves from, in terms of, we'll do theaters, but this way, not the regular way. And the people who, like Amazon, who perhaps may look, or Apple, who may look to compete with that sort of thinking, may do it similarly, but in a different way, in terms of releasing their movies in the theaters, especially big ones. We just can't release just anything, right? And then, a few weeks later, they go into their Apple streaming service where you can see it again because you're a subscriber. So there's a lot of ways to play this. So let's see how they're going to do this and what the turnout will be. It's going to be a very interesting thing to watch when it does happen. But yeah, let us know in the comment section below what you guys think. Please hit that like and subscribe. Share with your friends. Comment in the comment section below. And if you don't drink water, drink some LaCroix. I got to call these dudes. I got to send them an email for real. I'm going to say that. That's going to be the running joke. I got to send these guys an email. But yeah, let us know in the comment section below what you guys think. And we'll see you next time on the Nerd Gen Report.